The heavy clouds finally began to surrender, pulling apart like a gray curtain to reveal the pale light beneath. Lila stood motionless on the porch, her breath hitching as the scent of wet soil and crushed pine filled the air. It was that specific, heavy fragrance that only follows a summer downpour. Every blade of grass in the yard was a jewel, holding on to a single, trembling raindrop. The world felt new, washed, clean, and silent. Then she looked up. High above the meadow, a vibrant arch of impossible color cut through the lingering gloom. It was the brightest, most defiant rainbow Lila had ever seen, glowing with a light that seemed to pulse from within. The book she had been reading slipped from her fingers, forgotten on the wooden chair. For a moment, she simply stared, her heart beginning to beat in rhythm with the shimmering bands of violet and gold. She didn't think, she simply ran. Her boots hit the saturated earth with heavy splashes, sending plumes of brown mud upward to stain her jeans. She sprinted toward the open field, her eyes locked on the horizon where the colors met the earth. The air was cool against her face, but her lungs began to burn with a sweet, sharp heat. Every time she crested a hill, the rainbow seemed to jump, shifting its weight just beyond the next line of trees. It was a game of shadows and light. She scrambled over a weathered wooden fence, the splinters catching her palms, but she didn't slow down. She pushed through thickets and leapt over stones, her gaze never wavering from the prismatic bridge that seemed to be waiting for her just a few more yards away. The distance felt like a physical challenge, a test of how much she wanted to touch the untouchable. Her legs were aching now, a dull throb that matched the pounding in her ears. Suddenly, a hidden root caught the toe of her boot. The world tilted, and Lila fell hard into the damp, yielding grass. She lay there for a moment, gasping for air, the taste of ozone and rain on her tongue. She sat up slowly, wiping the grit and mud from her palms, her eyes searching the sky. The rainbow was still there, shimmering against the fading clouds. But it looked different now. It was softer, more translucent. She reached out a trembling hand, her fingers stretching toward the violet band that looked so solid, so real. But there was nothing. Her fingers brushed only empty, cool air and the mist of the receding storm. She realized then that the rainbow was not a destination, but a moment in time. She watched, motionless, as the sun began its final dip behind the horizon, pulling the light away from the sky. The brilliant reds and deep blues began to bleed into a singular, muted twilight. The colors didn't disappear all at once. They faded like a memory. One by one, the bands of light dissolved into the deepening blue of the evening. Lila pulled her knees to her chest, wrapping her arms tight as the first chill of night settled over the field. She wasn't disappointed. The frantic need to catch the light had been replaced by a quiet, heavy stillness. She sat in the middle of the vast meadow, a small figure against the darkening landscape, watching the very last ghosts of the violet arc vanish into the stars. The chase was over, and the silence of the woods returned, deeper than before. She stood up, her joints stiff, and began the long walk back toward the glow of the house. She didn't look back at the horizon. As she reached the porch, she paused, placing a hand over her heart. She could still see it behind her eyelids, the exact, perfect shade of that violet band. She stepped inside, closing the door on the night, carrying the light within.